This is 219 News Now, brought to you by Strachan Van Til, making lives easier for 94 years.
I'm Andrew Garcia, and this is your 219 News Now. Former Gary Mayor Jerome Prince admitted in Hammond federal court documents Wednesday that he knowingly used his mayoral campaign money to help buy a house in 2019. In a plea agreement filed in Hammond federal court, Prince admitted he took a total of $26,750 in campaign donations to finance the purchase of his personal residence. He's agreeing to plead guilty to wire fraud and a deal with federal prosecutors that could spare him prison time. It still must be accepted by a federal judge. Local representatives in Washington, D.C. were able to secure a grant worth nearly $1 million to upgrade radios for the Maryville Police Department. The $963,000 grant allows for the department to purchase approximately 75 radios, which Maryville Operations Commander Matthew Paunica described as smartphones wrapped in a radio. These expenses of purchasing new radios were not just burdensome, they were impossible, Chief Costanusa said. Additional ways for officers to stay connected is a big deal, he said. A South Shore train reportedly struck a deer early Wednesday, resulting in delays that were further fueled by maintenance issues, according to the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District. A westbound train was reportedly delayed 15 minutes after an earlier train struck the deer. Subsequent alerts then said both eastbound and westbound trains would be delayed up to 20 minutes due to unspecified construction or maintenance activity. And in sports, IU football continues its hot start to the season. The Hoosiers are 6-0 for the first time since 1967, but will now face what the voice of IU football, Don Fischer, calls the team's toughest opponent when Nebraska comes to Bloomington on October 19th.
Matt Rule has taken over that program. I think this is his second year, and they've made some real gains in what they've been able to do with their players and their coaching staff. They kind of turned Nebraska football back to what we used to see from Nebraska, although they're nowhere near the powerhouse that they were at that point in time back in the day. And I don't know how far back you'd go with Nebraska, probably 20 plus years since they've been really a powerhouse football program, or one that was considered in the national limelight on a consistent basis. Now I think with Rule there, they've made a lot of changes. They've made things much tougher on opponents since he's taken over. And I think this is going to be it will be Indiana's toughest game of the year at this juncture. They're going to play it in Bloomington, which is great. That continues that schedule that has Indiana playing 8 home games this year, which gives you an advantage, no question about that. And the other thing with Indiana right now that's probably the most important factor at this juncture, they have not suffered any serious injuries.
To read up on more local news and headlines, visit JEDtv.com and NWI.com. I'm Andrew Garcia, and this has been your 219 News Now.